you chat?
Always. Howdy.
Hello.
How are you?
Recovering. It's so hard going back to work
Post-holiday?
post-holiday. It's just like, no.
It's almost better, not that I want this for us, but like when you're just working or like going, you don't notice.
You're in the flow.
But when you stop, even for 4 days, it is like, damn. It's
You
like,
know what's so crazy? A lot of people on my team took off the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We had like a half day no matter what, but they took it off.
what a waste.
And there was literally nobody working. Some people took off the Tuesday too, so they had like a really long week.
Yeah.
But there was like nobody there. It was so quiet. Like, why would you waste a day taking that off unless you're like traveling or something? So me and this girl on my team were messaging, and I was like, it's so quiet. It's so nice. Like, I would never take this day off.
Like what a waste. Yeah.
And she was like, literally never. I took off the Monday and Tuesday after.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, absolute baller move.
I actually think that's a mistake.
No.
Because
what?
Once you have had that long off.
But like then like the rush of like everyone's emailing you today. Like so many people are saying like there's so much catch up to be done.
That's
that like
why I couldn't
no,
do it.
you're missing all that. You come in Wednesday and you're like, what's up, everybody?
See, I don't have that sort of job. Like the emails would just be building. Like no one else is going to take over my emails. So then I come back Thursday and I'm like, holy fuck. I'm drowning under a pile of emails. Oh my God. I'm actually feeling anxious just thinking about it.
Okay, well, I was like absolutely genius move.
Maybe, but not for this girl.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, we were all together, so it was lovely. I thought Thanksgiving was great. Did you think it was great?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Hosting is
Ass.
absolutely
But
not it.
I thought we had an excellent Thanksgiving. Like a lot of laughter. We were all of a sudden we looked at our phones to see what time it was. It was like 11:30. We were like,
PM.
PM. We were like, we need to go home.
Yes. I was at one point kind of like, are people going to leave?
I was
because
actually,
if it's at my house,
you have
I
to
can't
be there.
leave. I live here. If I was at someone else's house, I think I might have earlier on been like, I'm going to skedaddle. Well, you have 2 Thanksgivings.
3 this year, but yes.
3?
Saw my father-in-law on Saturday.
Didn't you just have brunch?
Yes, no, we had 2 legitimate Thanksgivings.
You had 2.
2.
That's a lot.
And those are my favorite foods though, so I feel really good about it.
You know, there's like tradition.
Tradition. That's what I always hear in my head when someone says that word.
The Friday after Thanksgiving, Mike's family always goes to this like Christmas tree lighting Friday night, and then back to the house for like dinner and hanging out. It's hard to like get your ass up and moving. Like, did you feel this way after Thanksgiving Thursday?
No.
Oh.
But that's because we were going to sit on our asses. Like, I think it's hard to go and get yourself to go and do an activity. Like, we literally drove to my mother-in-law's.
That's an activity in itself.
Not really. Like, we got in the car, we moseyed down, and then we sat on the couch. We finished Bake Off. We, like, watched TV. Like, I wouldn't want to go stand outside in the cold. Like, I always think it's crazy. Every year, you guys, like, bundle up and you go to this, like, very fun festival of lights thing. But it's outside.
Festival of lights.
It's outside.
It is outside, and it was beyond frigid.
No, it was so cool. I was thinking of you guys on Friday. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it was extremely cold. We had Jack in his stroller in a hat, mittens, 2 layers of socks, obviously his winter coat, and then a big blanket.
Wait, this has sparked my memory. I must have put it out of my memory that Tyler and his sister run a turkey trot every year before Thanksgiving. And I was Jack. I was so cold. I was like, what are we doing? We got up Thursday morning. We drove to the city, flew there, totally fine. I don't know where I thought I was going because I didn't dress appropriately at all. I think it was like 25 degrees by the lake. I was wearing a quarter zip and a North Face vest, Uggs, no gloves, no hat. I was like dying. I wish someone had put me in a stroller with 2 pairs of socks.
I know. I was like, if there's any place to be.
I wish someone had thought that. And as we were leaving, Tyler was like, are you sure you don't want to wear more clothes? Like, it's cold. And I was like, oh, God, the drama.
I think that's honestly what Tyler should put on your tombstone when you...
leave the house.
Your tombstone? When you leave the house?
What should be on my tombstone?
I was going to say when you perish.
What should it say?
Are you wearing enough clothing?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm never. That might be the reason I perish.
Yeah. You just freeze to death like mid stride walking into a store.
Then I like wanted to save face. So everyone was like, are you cold? Are you cold? And I was like, no, like I'm honestly fine. Tyler came back from his run. I was so cold. I go, give me your gloves. He goes, they're really sweaty. I go, I don't care. My hands were at the part of being cold where like it was either going to get better or I was going to lose a finger.
Oh, you were on the verge of
hypothermia.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah. Of my own doing.
I didn't bring... Well, I did bring a hat and then I forgot it in the car. You know, like I was trying to get Jack in a stroller and like all bundled up. So then like anything for myself went by the wayside. I left my hat in the car. I didn't bring gloves because like I don't think to bring gloves anywhere.
But we all should begin to think of gloves because I've realized they're the most important part.
We need to start thinking about gloves.
I'm going to run a campaign. Glove awareness.
I've actually heard though that... So we're speaking about gloves specifically, the things with the fingers, not mittens. The things with the fingers... make your hands colder because your fingers like being together, it's like it feeds off its own body heat. So mittens are actually the way to go because it covers your whole hand and then your fingers are together.
I love mittens.
So go with mittens if you're
in the market.
If you're in the market.
Huh. Fascinating.
Yeah, it was really cold. I did spend most of the day Friday and from, you know, sun up to sundown Saturday shopping.
You are a committed shopper.
I love holiday shopping.
Did you get good stuff?
Nothing, so much good stuff.
I love
There's nothing I love more than shopping away.
I don't enjoy it like you do.
I know you don't.
Like I have a good 2 hours in me and then I need to leave.
There's something about the sales. And in a couple stores I was like, I didn't get anything, and I was like, but it's not about the success isn't based on how much you buy. It's based off of like the quality of the stuff you buy and the price that you get it for. It's the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's just not my journey. I lose it halfway through the experience.
Oh, yeah, you instead would prefer to send me out on
Yes, I reap the benefits. We came back from being with Tyler's family, and thank you so much. You purchased us a new Christmas tree for next year, which I needed.
You need a new Christmas tree. You're like, if you find this, please grab it for me.
You did great work.
And I went to 3 stores searching. You wanted a tree that's not pre-lit, which is...
a hot take, but let me explain why.
But also not common.
I think because it's like how they make refrigerators to break after 5 years. I think it's a scam. They've made us believe that having a pre-lit tree is so much easier and putting lights on your tree is just so laborious. Is that a word?
Laborious.
That sounds weird too. Whatever. They make it sound really difficult. It's not. This is now my 3rd tree in my adult life. I've only had Christmas trees for like 11 years. That the lights are completely dead. So this tree is useless to me. I had to still put lights.
It's not useless. It's still just a tree. You can put lights on.
I did put lights on, but you can see the broken. If you get close to it, you can see that there's strands of lights on there that don't work. And I'm like, why am I doing this?
If you get close to it, you can't because it's covered in like radioactive foil.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. Would you like to know the results? We posted on our Instagram
a survey.
A survey.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy to report that it was closer than I would have liked, but people do love tinsel.
It was like 50-50.
No, it was like 60-40.
Okay.
That's how we won. It was like 60-40.
Barely.
It was actually 59, 41? It was 59-41 was the final tally.
But I think you have to account for some of the people who didn't want to hurt your feelings.
No, because you just don't answer. Like, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
No, I think people are like, beautiful tree, Jonna.
Some people didn't mind hurting my feelings.
And so... when you being one of them. When it really boiled, I've said this for years. When we lived together in the city, you wanted to put tinsel on our tree, and I was like, "Don't do this." I'm sorry. Has anyone seen a photo of Jonna's tree from growing up?
Which tree are you thinking of?
The one that is exclusively covered in bows.
Bows are very trendy right now. I'm sorry that we were ahead of the curve.
It's like there's no ornaments. It's only it's that I keep wanting to say poinsettias. What kind of bows are those?
There were poinsettias also.
Oh,
they were
okay,
big red velvet, fake poinsettias and real big bows.
Real bows. Not that fake shitty bow that you might be thinking of. These are the real thing.
You've got me so confused.
What are you confused about? Why you did that?
No. First of all, my beloved grandmother did that. May she rest in power. But I loved our bows.
Nothing against you, Mo. Loved your style. No one rocked a velour sweatsuit like you.
You did not love her style?
I mean, I had an appreciation for it. She had a velvet sweatsuit in every color. And she preferred the brown.
She did. And brown is having a moment right now.
Brown's having a moment right now, but she preferred the brown when it wasn't having a moment.
But like bows and brown, did she have a crystal ball?
Something about your family, actually, you guys fucking love brown.
No,
I have not.
I love brown.
No, not you.
No, I do.
It's the Van Deens. I had never seen so much brown. First of all, you drove a brown car.
Yep, loved.
Second of all, carpeting in your entire home.
It was
brown.
brown. You're right.
Brown velour suits.
We had brown couches also.
Brown couch. How now, brown cow?
Wow, my phone case right now is brown.
You guys were like
It's in the DNA.
Brown Town.
And brown is extremely trendy right now. So I'm not saying we were ahead of it, but
Well, you're always ahead of something.
exactly.
Till you're not.
Oh, wow. Well, in total, the votes came in for tinsel. So keep that in mind.
I think has to be a little bit of a buffer for people who didn't want to hurt your feelings, which is so sweet.
So nice. You aren't one of those people, but
No.
Do you want my icebreaker? It's Thanksgiving themed.
I would love it.
You're going to draft your favorite side dishes. You can only eat these things at Thanksgiving moving forward. This is your lifetime commitment. Mm-hmm. You automatically get turkey. What 3 sides are you accompanying the turkey with?
Ooh, very easy.
Okay. Oh, easy. I was torn, but you go.
Stuffing.
Wow. Great. Okay.
Mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Taffy apple salad.
So here's what's interesting about the taffy apple salad. It is a bit of a floater. I do think if you hadn't picked it, I would allow it to enter dessert. But we're going to get to dessert
It's
next.
not a dessert. It's just not a
It
dessert.
has marshmallows in it, though.
So does sweet potato casserole.
Which we don't have, and I am going to petition to have next year.
Because your mom usually makes it and she didn't bring it, that dumb bitch.
I know. You're right. You're right. I missed
The bread, though, is fire.
So good. My mom makes incredible bread.
Like homemade bread.
So that leads into mine. Okay. I would have to have her bread.
Really?
Your mashed potatoes. I'm doing kind of a mix and match. And my mother-in-law makes the most incredible mac and cheese.
I do love mac and cheese. I wouldn't say it's like generally my favorite thing in the world, but it's definitely like it's next in line after my tops.
Yeah, I love mac and cheese. Your mashed potatoes are my fucking favorite mashed potatoes. So good.
They're my grandma's.
But you've adopted them and like you don't really make them following a recipe, so like they've become yours.
It is a total mystery.
But it's so good. And then my mom's bread is just top tier.
Yeah, that shit's great. And usually she brings sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows, and she didn't. And
that actually might be my fault because she said, "Is there anything else I should bring?" And I forgot. She usually makes that, so I said no. Whoopsie.
When she showed up without it, I was like, okay, I know you're leaving on an international trip in a couple days, so I'll let it slide. But
we're pissed. And then you have to pick your one dessert.
Like a traditional Thanksgiving dessert.
Just anything we had that I bring, because I bring the desserts. So like,
I really love pecan pie, but I also love cheesecake.
I know the cheesecake was really good. Mike's uncle brought an amazing cheesecake. So would you go? Which one would you do?
I'll go pecan pie because it's Thanksgiving. I can have cheesecake another day.
You're gonna literally hate mine, pumpkin pie, but just the filling. I don't even with ice cream. I don't even want the like crust. I want
actually
the
just got a shiver down my spine.
I know you hate it. It's so good.
It's so like.
I'm not sure what
like that like
is
that like
the texture doesn't sit well with you.
No.
Well, maybe you're tactile deficient.
Oh, that's what it is. Pumpkin pie only, though.
So good.
Ugh. Yeah, no, I mean, I pretty much love all the sides that go along with Thanksgiving. Like, there isn't one thing that we had that I was like, not for me. Are you a white meat or dark? Are you a white meat or dark meat person?
White meat.
I'm a dark.
Yeah. But I'll eat either. I just don't really love stuffing.
That's really fucking crazy.
For me, that is like, it's just like clumps of bread. Like, what?
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 Okay. Really? That's a hot take.
Is it? I don't know if it's the most popular food for Thanksgiving.
I think it actually may be the most popular Thanksgiving side.
Huh. I don't.
So we just looked it up, and stuffing is indeed the number one most popular side.
Well, that's shocking. Americans are weird.
You know what I want to tell you?
What?
So obviously, so much football this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And a debate was sparked that your husband explained to me over in Illinois specifically. I don't know how it is in other states. The football programs at public schools and private schools, like high schools.
Okay.
Apparently there has been outrage.
Oh, there's outrage.
There's outrage.
In the streets?
Yes. Let me tell you about it. It's actually very interesting. So private schools have been dominating high school football for the past few years, actually.
Okay.
So people are saying that the system is broken, apparently. And so private schools won all but one state title this past weekend.
Okay.
And it was inevitable that the state championship weekend was going to be dominated by this conversation of private versus public schools in title games. So 9 private school qualifiers made up the list of 16 finalists over the weekend, making up over half the teams in the final weekend's field. So people are, one, saying it's disproportional. Obviously, the number of private schools compared to the number of public schools, like,
right,
doesn't make any sense. And private schools account for 10% of all playoff eligible IHSA football playing schools. So they're only 10%, and then they're over 50% in the championship.
Okay. So the gist is they're winning the majority of the championships while representing a smaller number of eligible teams.
Yes. And so what they're saying is that public schools can only obviously have kids on their teams who live in that area.
Right.
Like, public schools don't choose who comes to the school. If you live there, you go to that school. Private schools can take from a much wider radius and can also, although not really supposed to, recruit.
Is that happening, though?
It is happening.
They're recruiting?
Yes, majorly.
Huh.
Yeah, basically they have, like, you know, a certain number of miles around their school's location that they can, like, take players from, and they are taking players from, like, as far away as they can if it will make them better.
And are they offering them financial incentives to be
Yes, they are.
Probably, yeah.
As in free tuition.
So I went to a private school, and I'm curious if this is happening there.
It is. Because my husband also went to that school.
Interesting.
And it is, because he was on the football team.
It's so crazy because our school was very football focused.
Yes.
Like, it was a big deal. And I always just thought we were better because we had, like, private donors who were, like, pouring money into the program.
And just making the kids better.
Well, just, like, able to pay better coaches.
Naivete.
Apparently, like, better facilities. Like, there were just better equipment.
Well, it all kind of goes into one thing, like, because there are those investments, like, it's a nicer place to play, better coaches go, that will attract better kids because they think they have a better shot at going to college for it. So it's all one big
Conspiracy.
Like, yeah, Publix can't easily take donor money to build a new indoor practice facility for their football team. That's not allowed. They're saying that all of these private schools are dominating, obviously, and they're pulling kids out of the public schools that they possibly would have gone to. So Montini specifically has, like, dominated in football for the last however many years. And they recruit really heavily, like students out of the city,
Interesting.
including like housing subsidies to live closer to the school.
Oh, wow.
And your high school, for example, who we won't
Disparage
slander
here.
here because we love them.
We love them.
They are recruiting out of areas with maybe like really great students, but the communities aren't as affluent, and so they don't have
Football programs. Yeah.
football programs and funding for that. So the kids would just go to like their public high school and probably be really great, but they're getting recruited to go to the school. Now it's a two-sided point in my head, because does that seem fair? No. On the other hand, when you think about it, like perhaps those kids who are recruited out of the communities that they live in that don't have as many resources for them, maybe this is like their chance to have a better education, maybe get into a better college, get scholarship money to go to a better college. Like maybe it is better for those kids. And so that's where I'm torn.
I don't feel so torn
You don't.
ethically because of the second point. Like, it's like students who go to college, for instance, on a football scholarship, a baseball scholarship, or whatever, that maybe wouldn't have been able to afford school.
But it's not, because you're not designated to go to one college.
No, but I'm saying from a opportunity perspective. Private schools, you're not designated to go to a private school. So it would be, I think it'd be a huge issue, not to bring up Friday Night Lights, but I remember in that show, there was like the East Dillon, the whatever Dillon, and boosters from one of the public schools were moving kids into a different public school area. That's a problem because you're playing with boundaries. It would be immoral and unethical in my mind if public schools were recruiting out of other public schools. But private schools don't have boundaries, and you can go to a private school. I went to a private school that was 40 minutes from my house. If I had been recruited to go to that school, Lord knows it wouldn't be for athletics, but like if they had recruited me for being just stunning,
Funny
beautiful,
and beautiful.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and they said, we want you to go here. If I couldn't have afforded to going there on my own, it would have been a huge opportunity. Like I would rather go to a school that has stronger academics.
Agreed. I think like the disparity though is that like the better your team is, the more notice that you get, right? Mm-hmm. And so like if your team is just getting absolutely dominated in the state finals and recruiters are really only watching like the final few games, they're not there all weekend, they're there like for the late games toward the championship, because they're not going to watch thousands of high schoolers play. So if your team is getting knocked out early on, then you're maybe not getting seen. Like if your kid, for example, really great football player on their team, goes to a high school around here, and like it's a really great team. The other thing is that publics don't play privates in their regular
Season.
It's like there's one like public private. Your conference is public schools or private schools if you're in private. And so let's say you're really a great team in your conference, and then you get to state and get knocked out right away. And your kid was like, I was really hoping some recruiters from these colleges would see us play, but they're not even coming until Saturday, and we got knocked out on Friday. In that instance, you feel like it's maybe unfair?
I don't know if unfair is the right word. Unfortunate, frustrating. Frustrating, but like the flip side is if they are recruiting,
it's the unfair part is that they're recruiting and the publics can't.
But I think that is across the board of the main conversation around public versus private. Private schools have so much more freedom in the way that they discipline, in the way that they teach, in the way that they grade. Like there's obviously a baseline that they have to meet for the curriculum, but that is the benefit of a private school if that's what you're looking for. They have so much more freedom.
But it's actually not fair or on the record that they recruit these students and then give them scholarships to not have to pay.
1,000% it's a gray area. Like, I'm not saying it's like should be celebrated, but I don't necessarily know if you can shut it down, because that is the nature of the environment.
Public versus private.
Yeah, public versus private.
What do you think?
I would say that just in like this situation, that like the private schools could probably have their own playoffs. There's just more money, a lot more money involved. You have a lot more access to talent if you want it. So I would typically think they should do that. In terms of private schools, like I'm not against them, but yeah, in this situation, could probably separate them.
I would agree with that as well. Like, just let there be a private
Agreed.
school state championship and a public school state championship, and then
That's a great point.
what people sort of feel is like they want to see the private school state championship play the public school state champion.
But then there'll be another thing of like,
Right.
why? Like, I think if you're going to separate them, separate them.
Yes, but right now they're not separated at all.
But it goes even further than that. Like, I have a vendetta against the fair police. Like, I'm so sick of us trying to make everything fair all the time. Not everything is fair. Life is not fair. So, like, the sooner you learn it, the better. And I don't know what we accomplish by constantly trying to even out the water. It's like some places are better for this. Some teachers are better. You could go to the same school over a 10-year span and have the math department change dramatically. Is it fair that there was a better math department head and some students were doing better in math? No, but that's just life.
Life's not fair.
Like, life is not fair. I just get so frustrated. And I'm out of my depth with the football, and if it makes sense and if it's really hurting, these students to be able to pursue scholarships in college and things like that, that's obviously something to be looked at. But there's still public school students getting scholarships. They're still excelling. They're still making it. So come on.
At the end of the day, life's going to kick you in the crotch. So.
Exactly. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Speaking of football, did you see that Josh Allen is an engaged man?
I did. Very happy for them. They haven't been dating that long.
I think
him and Haley Steinfeld.
No, I think that he and Haley Steinfeld were first linked like May of 2023. But obviously with a public relationship like that, like they could have been hiding it from us. Like, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, true.
The drama of it though is that he was with his ex-girlfriend for a very long time, on and off for a decade.
Like throughout college.
Yeah, throughout college into their adult life. She's like a Pilates instructor, like kind of influencer adjacent. But the drama was her Instagram account posted a comment about him being like a CTE washed up football player. I'm paraphrasing. But then she came out and said that her Instagram had been hacked multiple times throughout the weekend, which I kind of believe, because that would be really brazen.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
But it brought a lot of attention onto her, which obviously she probably didn't want the attention. She was probably having her own journey with her ex-boyfriend of a decade, getting quickly engaged. But
cheating rumors about that, or no?
No, there hasn't been anything about overlap. I think it was just a sudden move on, but like when you know sort of thing. So you actually informed me that he played his best game.
He is the first quarterback to have a passing, receiving, and rushing touchdown in the same game.
Wow.
Do you know what that even means?
No. I have learned a lot about football. You can explain it though for the listener who might not be as well versed as I am in the game of football.
Of course. So obviously passing touchdown.
Traditional.
Right. Passes to another player. Rushing touchdown is when they hold the ball, the quarterback has the ball and runs it into the end zone. But a receiving touchdown, really rare. Yes, you saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you have known otherwise?
I mean, just by context clues.
Okay. But a receiving touchdown is really rare for a quarterback, obviously, because they're the ones passing the ball. And so he passed it to a player, and that player was like about to get tackled right in front of the end zone, and Josh Allen was kind of open, and so he like looked at him and was like, pass it back. And the guy tossed it back to him, and Josh Allen dove into the end zone. It was a really crazy play.
He's a happy man.
And he had the game of his life, and he's also on my fantasy team. So,
Oh, wow. It was a big night for you.
absolutely.
I've
it
lost
was.
track. That has gotten away from me, our fantasy team.
What happened?
I've stopped like interacting with it at all.
Why?
Because I was really busy managing my pick'em each week.
And that takes a lot of time.
And then also just like my general sports betting. And I quite honestly forgot that I was managing a fantasy team.
Oh.
Well, I'm so happy for
we're
you.
happy to take your money.
I'm happy for you and for Josh Allen.
The person in first place in the pick'em this week has not lost one game.
Yeah, I'm not going to win this week.
And Mike always says, like, if that person had picked all of those teams to win, like in a bet, like put $5 on every team to win, they'd win like $500,000.
I've had to start prefacing to Tyler whenever I ask her his opinion. I think he has a crystal ball, and he'll start out every answer to me like, well, I don't really know what's going to happen. And I had to stop him the other day and I said, let's just assume moving forward, I never think you know with any certainty what is going to happen. I'm not asking you to be the Wizard of Oz. I'm asking you to tell me what you think is probable. Because I would be like, out of these 4 people, who do you think is going to score a touchdown? He'd be like, well, I'm like, I know you don't fucking know. If you knew, we'd have $1 billion. If you could guess the games perfectly, we'd be betting out every week.
Betting out the ass.
Betting out the ass. But my one bet did hit this weekend, but my other one didn't bet.
I didn't bet this weekend because I was too busy shopping.
You were you were betting on yourself in those shopping lines.
Speaking of the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Obviously, we're still just flying high
reeling
off of Wicked. We're defying gravity.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing it again.
You are? Wow.
You've seen it.
I went and saw it.
And?
I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped listening to the soundtrack. I understand I do understand what she meant by people are holding space. I am now holding space.
You're holding space.
I understand why it was absurd, but like, it all makes sense.
We don't care.
We don't care. I loved it. I cannot believe we have to wait for part 2.
Were you like, when it ended, were you like, okay?
I felt like moved.
Yeah.
It was really moving. It was really beautiful.
The scene at the Ozdust.
Yes. Oh my God. I just really thought it was I don't even know what the word is. Like, I don't want to say well done because that's so lame.
Generally well done.
Like, it sounds so lame, but I just thought it was like really well paced, if that makes sense. Like, it moved really well.
You didn't think there were any boring parts?
No, I felt really entertained the whole time. Oh God, so good. I'm glad you're going again.
I could see it 10 more times. But so again, no spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it by now, though, then
okay, no spoilers. But if you're gonna say something that's spoilery, turn this off for 30 seconds.
Just generally, people don't like Nessa.
Yeah, I know.
Because she's a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the worst sister ever.
She's terrible.
And
her name is Nessa Rose. Come on.
So I guess people have been, you know how people are like personally, but people like feel personally affected by her character in the movie, which is just so fucking crazy to me. But they've been saying like she deserves to be in a wheelchair, like all these horrible things. So the actress who plays her, Marissa Bodie, is it Bode or Bodie?
I don't know.
I think it's Bodie. She says she finally came out and made a statement and said not liking Nessa herself is okay because she's fictional. But
and insufferable.
But disability is not fictional. At the end of the day, me, Marissa, is the person that's still disabled and in a wheelchair. Like the actress is actually disabled. And so she's like, thank you, everyone. This is just a character. I am here in real life in a wheelchair. People
are fucking nuts. And honestly, to equate the two, like being in a wheelchair should not be looked at as like a punishment. Like deserve, not deserve. Like this is just something that is, and it has no correlation to someone's behavior. Like, are you okay?
And also, that is a movie.
Guys, I know it felt real. And if you saw it in 3D, maybe you felt immersed. But
which you did.
I did, which was a huge fucking mistake. But anyways,
I saw it was being offered in 3D and I was like, it's not Marvel. Why would you see it in 3D?
We didn't want to. It was just because there were such limited tickets.
You could have gone to the theater that's not next door to our homes. There's so many movie theaters.
I went to the next one and there wasn't any better times. Yeah, I did.
The lies are trickling
I'm not. Did you see that Hunter Biden has been pardoned by the president, also known as his father?
Also known as Daddy Dearest.
On tax evasion and gun charges?
Yeah, I did see that. And wouldn't you do the same?
I get it. I know, me too. Although I don't know if I would do the same, but I understand why he would. Does that make sense? Like, I hold no judgment.
You wouldn't do the same? I would do that for you.
I would want to do that for you.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Again, with this lopsided
No,
love.
I would. I'm so sorry. That is not true. Says the queen herself with my sweet little pup while the other one's abandoned. No, I would want to do it for you, and I probably would do it for you. I'm thinking as a parent.
But not for your child.
Well, I'm thinking as a parent, like, it's like the quintessential, like, you don't want to, like, Hunter Biden did behave badly. And he's not going to go to a maximum security prison.
But so did Trump. I mean, people are behaving badly.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point.
And there are no consequences. And don't tell me that Trump wouldn't do the same thing.
You are so right. I've changed my mind. Thank you.
Oh, that's all it took, huh?
Yeah, because that was an excellent point. I'm thinking of it still as a different America where, like, if you commit
Rules matter.
Yeah, I was confused for a
Rules
second.
and laws.
Yeah, I was actually confused when I made that statement. No, you're 100,000% right. Like, I would 100,000% want to pardon my child, but I would feel some sort of parental obligation to, like, enforce behavior, even if they were an adult.
To enforce behavior?
Enforce punishment.
Oh. Like there's a consequence.
Yeah, like there's a consequence to your behavior.
Totally.
It's a natural consequence. Gentle parents love that.
That they do. And the natural consequence is 17 years in prison.
Hunter Biden is a shit show, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dilemma.
Do you have one for me?
I do have a daily dilemma for
Beautiful.
you.
Lay it on me.
So a lot of chatter this weekend about family time.
Family time.
And someone posted this from the group of posts.
Post group.
And it's about, well, I'll just read it to you. She says, I had a baby 2 weeks ago, and I literally cannot stand my mother-in-law since then. I feel like she's constantly offering advice. She talks to my baby in baby talk. She only listens so that she can share a story about her own experience as a mother. She makes strange comments through my baby, i.e., they're probably only going to let me hold you for 10 minutes at a time until you're 12. I know this is a, quote, me problem, and I need to deal with it, especially because I love my husband to death and I want to get along with his mom. But I guess I'm just looking for any tips and advice. Okay. I feel really strongly about this, so buckle up.
Okay, I'm buckled.
And a lot of people are commenting saying, like, it's normal to feel annoyed. You need to work on setting better boundaries. Like, a lot of people are commenting about boundaries. Interesting. This person said, it's like when my mother-in-law tells me, make sure you bundle him up before you leave, or make sure you put socks on him before you leave. She said, why are older generations so obsessed with making comments like this? You're not teaching me anything by saying something like this. I actually take it as an insult. Do you really think I'm not capable of dressing my kid properly for the weather? It really gets under my skin. Tons of people commenting on that comment. This makes me crazy. My in-laws and parents are obsessed with that. This person said, I'm convinced my mother-in-law truly thinks she cares for / about my kids more than I do. She's constantly calling me, asking me, quote, have you thought of this? What's your plan for that? Did you think about this? When I've already thought about whatever she has, plus 50 other things. Just recently, she called to ask me if I really thought I needed to send my baby to the daycare that I chose. No real reason, just doesn't know anything about it, and it worries her. I'll wait to give my take.
No, I want you to go first.
Why?
Because you're a mom.
You have opinions.
I always have opinions, but I want to hear yours first.
This makes me livid.
Okay, go on. What makes you livid specifically?
I just think, like, when people find you're complaining that people love your children.
Oh my God, we're 100% aligned. Wow, I got scared for a second that you meant you were livid with the mother-in-law. Okay, we're back. Okay.
Oh, you were like, no, you go.
Because I thought you were saying you were livid that like this
No.
No, I agree 1,000. And these are the same people who, if the mother-in-law wasn't engaged, would be like, my mother-in-law doesn't ever engage with my children.
We live 20 minutes away.
We
and
never see her.
We never see them. I mean,
oh my God, yes. People are now looking for things to complain about.
yes, but like all of those comments about like setting boundaries, like
the boundaries, shove the boundaries up your ass.
If you are not confident enough in your parenting or the way that you choose to care for your child, that a small comment like, make sure you bundle him up, irritates you, then you need to take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror. That is a you problem.
All you need to say is, oh yeah, thanks. And do exactly, if you were already going to bundle him up, do exactly what you were going to do.
Like that girl saying, my mother-in-law recently called me and said, are you sure you want to send him to that daycare? I just don't know anything about daycares. They're concerned because they love your child.
And
holy fuck, is that a blessing? Get a fucking grip.
All you have to say is, yes, we did our research, but I appreciate how much you care. Would you want to come over and I can explain some of the things to you? Like, they're just asking a question. Is it a no question place? So you're going to have boundaries and no one can ask you any questions. That's the boundary. Okay. Weird.
Like people, and there's a difference between people asking questions or mentioning things because they care and saying like, don't do that and arguing with you about it. That is totally different.
And I think asked and answered. I think if they continue to do it, like I think if you say, are you sure you want to send your child to that daycare? They give you the reasons why. Now they're sending the child to the daycare. Asked and answered. It's inappropriate for you every other week to ask more questions. But in the initial, if you're curious and want to learn something, great. I think if you're constantly second guessing everything your daughter-in-law does, she's going to get frustrated. But the occasional comment when it's cold out or offering advice, thanks, moving on. Because then you create this dynamic, which I think people are starting to do, where it's not comfortable. Like no one feels comfortable talking.
Totally. Agreed.
Like then it's like, oh, well, now they're second guessing, asking a question.
And also like, you know, you see this a lot with people who are like, oh, I'm choosing to formula feed instead of breastfeed, whatever. And then it's like their mom or their mother-in-law or their aunt or whoever the fuck is like, you know, have you thought about it? What's in the formula? Are you giving them the right stuff? Like, and you're like, oh, well, you know, I tried and it didn't work for me, so I'm doing this. And then like the next week they're like, maybe you could still, it's like, shut the fuck up.
Totally.
Like there is no, it's not a discussion. Like we're not discussing what daycare to send them to. I'm not discussing.
I will give you my information.
Yes, unless I come to you with that question or inquiry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a big difference. I don't think it's ever any other person, not just in-laws, aunts, uncles, cousins, whomever, to repeatedly berate someone about their choice. Like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do that? That's annoying and it's intended to make them feel unsure.
And like, you know, we've talked before about it. Luckily, your mom doesn't listen to this, but...
Oh, my mom's going to be a nightmare. But loving.
Loving for sure. But I think like it'll be a little different when you're like, hey, she's watching your kid and you're like, we aren't giving him
X, Y, or Z
dairy after 7 because we found that like he doesn't sleep as well. I don't know if it upsets his stomach or not. And then she's like, when Grammy's here, we do ice cream at 9 p.m.
100%. And I don't have any concerns about my mom, truthfully, with like those sort of things. Like if I told her it was like a health thing, she'd be like, no can do, senorita. What I more think is going to be difficult is like her telling me to do things the way she did them. Like she even does it with our dogs. But I always remind myself, and like my husband and I are both fortunate that we have moms who love us a lot, and I am confident will love our children. And that's best case scenario. So I can put up with being a little annoyed because you keep asking me the same question versus pushing you away and making you not feel included or welcomed because it's an exciting time for you too.
No, I agree. Like it's an exciting time for the whole family. Obviously, like bringing more family into the fold. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be like annoyances.
Of course.
Especially with people caring for your kids. Like if someone comes and takes care of your dog, maybe they don't do something the same way that you do 100%. Something, but it's very nice of them to take care of your dog.
And it's like you want your kids to have some, like, I don't know if the word is diversity is not the right word, but like you don't want them to be so rigid in the way that they live their lives. You know, like, you know, those people who like pack up every single thing their kid has and take it everywhere and like everything is exactly the same. It's like that child needs to understand that there needs to be some adjustment sometimes, and creating this like fictitious world where nothing changes is not sustainable.
Agreed.
Like there needs to be some versatility. And so going to grandma's house, maybe you do things a little different as long as grandma's respecting like safety rules and things like that.
Yeah, as long as grandma's not dangling you off the roof for
We're good.
10 minutes at a time.
We're good
I feel
to go.
like we're okay.
We're Gucci, yeah.
Grandma also raised you.
And I agree with that. And like my mom and I butt heads sometimes on the way that we just approach life, but I never am concerned that she isn't listening to what's good for X, Y, or Z, like for your child or for our dogs. Like she's raised me. I'm alive and well. I got to give her some credit. These people who get so neurotic, it's like.
Now, is it annoying when our parents say things like, well, when you guys were little, we did this. Like when you were little, we had you sleeping with this really soft blanket, and then it was easier to have you sleep other places because we just brought your blanket. Thank you for the information. That is no longer considered safe sleep.
Right. Like I can't control that.
That info is about 30 years old. So today we don't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else to tell you.
It's not allowed. But it's annoying, but it's annoying in the way that it's like, okay, I hear you and I don't need to like clap back at you.
Right. It's like, thank you for telling me that.
That's interesting. Again, with the repetitiveness, if they keep telling you that, you can say, guys, we talked about this. What did we talk about?
I always think about this because Jack had reflux when he was a little baby infant. Mm-hmm. And it was so much better when he was swaddled because he was like, you know, like tightly wrapped up and tightly wound.
Tightly wound up.
So we used to put him in like, and our pediatrician was like, keep him swaddled because it like keeps like his arms down and it puts like pressure on his stomach to like relieve. Release. Yeah. And so we always had him swaddled. And then when we'd come home, if his parents were watching him, he'd always be unswaddled, like totally like free ball in it, laying on spread out on the couch, like, and not always crying, but like sometimes fussy. And they'd be like, he was a little fussy. And Mike would be like, Mom, seriously, the swaddle. And she's like, he doesn't like it. And it was like, he does like it, but like, okay. Yeah, like whatever. And she always says, she's like, I will never forget Mikey came home and he was so mad that we didn't have him in the swaddle. And it was like, it's just like parents feel like, well, I know best. You know?
And everyone loves your kid a little differently. It's just, if you're.
Yeah, they look at him and they're like, you don't want to be in this swaddle.
Yeah, like 2 weeks in and you want to put this woman through a wall. Like it would be annoying. I will say the one thing I will agree with her on is don't use my child against me. Like, is your mommy being silly? Like, oh, okay. Draw the line.
Okay, yeah, that's just passive aggressive to be like, I wonder if your mommy will let me hold you for 10 minutes.
That is a bitch move.
Yeah.
But in general, I think people got to lay off the grandparents.
But it sounds kind of like that girl is a bitch, and so the mother-in-law has no choice in the matter.
She's meeting her where she is.
Oh, you're going to be a bitch?
Your mommy's being a bitch. Like
it sounds like your mommy's being a bitch.
I would be livid. That's some shit that like passive aggressive people do that I don't fuck around with.
But like, again, if that stuff irritates you, the comments, the little things about like family loving your child, get a fucking grip. Like seek help.
That's all there is to it. Seek help.
That's all I have to say on that.
And that's on that.
That's that on that. Oh, and one thing that I did want to mention is we didn't mention at the top of the episode, but we had a very lovely Thanksgiving. But this past week, 2 people who we love very much lost people who are super close to them. And so it was also a sad week. And we are just very thankful that we got to spend Thanksgiving together with the people that we love.
It just didn't feel right not mentioning it because we're so grateful to have each other. And it really was important to us to be together over the holiday season, but also remember that there were some people missing.
Yeah. So hug your loved ones.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for sharing our episode last week with new friends, family, etc. I hope it was a good conversation starter at your Thanksgiving. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll call you later.
Call you later. Love ya.
Love you. Bye.